What did you guys do this weekend? Who did something real estate related? Share it, share it.
Kira and I did an open. I'm so badly burnt. This is so embarrassing. I was like trying to cover my face, but I figured I'll just say it. Kira
Where
and I.
were you? Did you go tanning?
No, I literally just had lunch with my friend outside, and I came for like an hour and a half yesterday. And I come inside, my whole chest is burnt. It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
SPF season. Don't forget it.
Yes.
But Kira and I, we did an open house this weekend. Hi, Kira.
Yes, I was just on with Kira and she was saying about how many groups of people. So over 70 groups of people through an open house. 609 was the price. What town was it in, girls?
Clifton.
Clifton. Wow.
But like close to Montclair.
Yeah. Oh, we're buying up everything. Doesn't matter where things are right now. Everything's going. It's like a hot sale. Okay, so what else? Give me some other things. What did you do this weekend? Real estate related.
Connected with the agent from our office. I think you know you made the connection there, Mary Beth. And I think we're going to have a prosperous future working together on the leads that he's getting.
That's awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
So, and guys, strength in numbers. There are agents out there that are needing some help with leverage. As you just saw, Kira and Alvart got an opportunity to do an open house. Hi, Patty. I got you muted though. Let's get you unmuted if you want to hear Patty. So the girls, they went to an open house. They had the opportunity because one of our agents needed some extra help at open houses. We're going to see more and more of that because we see the listing counts coming on more in all the offices. Patty, same thing in Woodcliff Lake, right?
Yeah.
And so that is, yes, as much as it's our responsibility to kind of help you connect with agents, it's your responsibility to go, hey, let me go on the MLS. Let me look in my office and see what inventory we hold. And wow, you know what? I live in Ridgefield Park, Kristen, right? So I'm going to go look and see who holds listings in Ridgefield Park. I want to get close with those agents because when that agent needs some extra help, I'll be the one that will help her.
Yeah. Do you all know how to search listings by your office? Okay, under additional criteria? Okay.
I see everybody's saying yes, so that's probably no, Patty.
I was just going to try to see if I could do it while I was on the phone.
Can you quickly share screen?
Yeah, I actually haven't done it.
Can I share? Do you want to share your screen, Patty? I'll let you share screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you got co-host, so.
Yeah, and I'm NJMLS and you're GS, so that helps.
We use both, so actually everybody here does have NJ, so use NJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at this, guys. I'm so excited. Darn it.
Bold is back. Bold is back. I'm not ready
but
for
I
this
got to
yet.
get rid of this. Okay.
Okay.
I'm so excited. I really am.
Me too.
Okay. All right. When you do a search, property search, under here, additional criteria. You can do by number of rooms. Okay, you can go by listing agent ID, listing office ID, listing office name, all sorts of stuff you can. Cool?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, do you all know where the exclusive listings are? I know we've discussed this before. Do you all know?
Go ahead and show them.
Okay, I gotta. Oops. Que pasa?
Que pasta.
Mary Beth, do they have the exclusive one in Garden State also?
There is the option to search exclusives in your office. Yes, because the point of exclusives is it's exclusive to the broker. So anybody that's aligned with that broker should be able to see that exclusive listing as an opportunity. That's with the option to cooperate.
Yeah, all have to. Unfortunately, all of the. There we go. Can you see now? Go under. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, go under toolkit.
Mm-hmm.
Forms, docs, and general information. It's hidden really well. And office exclusives.
Okay, and this is recorded, so we will have this up for us to be able
Yeah.
to see. Great
And then it
job.
goes by month. And then let's just say I go into April, there'll be, see, there's a lot of listings. Whether they're cooperating or non-cooperating.
Awesome.
Okay?
Mary
Okay.
Beth, don't we also get that weekly in an email?
You do get that. The Ridgewood office does send a link for the exclusives, but that's where they're pulling it from. And, you know, to that point, thanks, Roddy, for asking that. There are things that are just like in your face and available to get to you, but we had to put them there. So we want you to figure out how to do that stuff too, because we never want you to feel like you don't know how to go find something, or you feel like I need somebody else to answer this for me. A lot of the stuff that Patty shows you, or I show you, Sally shows you, is because we had to actually figure it out on our own going through MLS. And all the MLSs are very different, to the point of Garden State versus NJ MLS versus Monmouth MLS, CJ MLS. I know some of you have Hudson County MLS. So each MLS is different. And I do believe that each MLS has a great training, you know, center. So if you have any challenges with that specific MLS, make sure you reach out to them.
Yeah. And it's been my experience that it's beyond the orientation. It's special classes,
Yeah, for sure.
additional classes.
Yep. All right. So I want one more thing. We talked about, we had open houses this weekend. Spencer hooked up with one of the agents inside of our office that has opportunities for extra leads that are, and this is why, and let me say this, there are a lot of agents inside of our world with almost 2,000 agents in Bergen County, KW, that don't have a team, that don't have buyer agents. And if they have 2 or 3 listings right now, it's probably a lot to manage with the leads that are coming off of those listings. So I'm just saying, offer your services out there that you'd gladly take referrals if there's an agent out there that has leads that they're not able to convert or get to. Because that is not servicing the client. And I will share with you one thing I will ask you to be conscious of as you grow as an agent. When you don't call back a lead, or an email comes in, or somebody inquires on a property and you just can't get to it, it also says something about the service that you give. It says something about the company's service too. So please get to your leads. Please call people back. I was sharing with Kira that the best thing you could do on Monday after an open house is actually call the leads back. Because the follow-up, you know, the secret of the success is in the follow-up.
Oh,
And I
God.
know it sounds crazy that agents would not call the leads, but the reality is, if you're an agent, you got 2 listings, and now this one listing's got offers coming in on it. And yeah, I met 70 people at the open house yesterday, but what's my focus? My focus is get this deal negotiated and get it in contract. So now I forget about everything that was a possibility, a possible opportunity, because I just can't focus on it. I'm going to focus on my top 20. So I'm asking you guys to let others know that you'll be the 80.
Mhm.
You're focusing on your top 20. Let me have the overflow, and I'll pay you a referral fee on that.
How do we put that out
Okay.
there, Mary Beth? Who do we say that to?
Well, you know, what I say is go and do that research of what are the agents that you would be interested in hosting their houses, or the market that they work. And
Okay.
Gina, for you, I know Deb Serino brought you into the office, right? And
Yes.
Deb and, you know, they may have some, that would be right where I start, is your sponsor.
Okay. I have told her that, but I was just saying to her, like, I'll be willing to do any, go to open houses or help in any way, or just watch how, yeah. Okay.
Sometimes,
So
sometimes,
there's
sorry, I was going to say, sometimes the agents are so busy, they've got so many things in varying stages, that maybe you could go and do the physical inspection, be the agent representing, doing the
That
physical
sounds great.
inspection.
Yes.
And then you get to see what a physical inspection involves.
That's what it is. That's what I just want it for the experience. Absolutely.
But
Thank
you
you.
have to reach out. To Mary Beth's point, it's you who has to reach out. It's,
Okay.
you need to take ownership of the fact that you want to grow in that area. You want to learn. So go do your searches, network. I know it's really hard right now to network, but go in every day, see what the new listings are that are coming out of your market center and or not coming out of your market center, but in your geographic area. And just reach out. Okay.
It works. That's how I got my first open house experience. I went on to the Facebook Bergen County Partners Facebook page and just said, hey, I'd love to do an open house, and bingo. I mean, immediately I got a response.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was going to do it by myself.
And if you ever get an opportunity to do an open house and you have not had the opportunity to attend an open house class, I know I teach it, as does Sally. Reach out to either one of us. We'll share our notes.
Absolutely.
So
And it's also, we have a recorded one that is on the Coaching Lobby YouTube channel. So if you are positioning to go do an open house or even shadow an open house, maybe you do want to watch that class if you can't attend it,
yeah.
and be really prepared when you're there. All right. So, and I love what Roddy said was he put it on the Facebook group. That is definitely another source, is the Bergen County Facebook group. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't win. And you could also be putting it out into some on your Facebook, as anybody, does anybody have a listing? As well as you can specifically go and say, Roddy, I see that you have listing 123 Main Street. I live in the neighborhood. I wanted to introduce myself. If you ever want me to cover for you in any which way, please let me know.
There's also a message board on the internet, KW Internet.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what it's called, but you could try that as well.
Absolutely. And I could show you that when I do a screen share where Roddy's talking about. It's an internal, and through commands, it's an internal message board. All right. So one more thing that somebody did great. Somebody had a success in real estate this weekend. Kira and then Nikisha, even though she's not raising her hand. Okay.
So a couple things. I got my first referral from my sphere this week. So someone referred their friend to me. I'm very excited. I also closed a rental, which came from my networking with the Queens agent. And these are people who are moving to New Jersey and want to buy.
Awesome.
So I was able to build the relationship through rental. They've got a short-term thing going on, and then we're going to find them a house. So I'm excited.
Awesome. Good job. Good job. When Kara and I were talking about that today, we talked about her 3 buckets. What are her 3 lanes that she's staying in? And all of you should be identifying what lanes, what buckets do you work in? So one of them we identified was her open house bucket. Right. So are you, if that's not, doesn't work for you, are you a door knocker? Do you do open houses? Do you do events? But one was open houses. The other was her sphere of influence. And the last one that she just actually mentioned was the referrals, agent to agent referrals. So now I would not say it. Did Kira mention that she's doing for sale by owners? No. Expireds? No. Withdrawals? No. Events?
Door knocking?
No.
No. Yeah.
Right. No. And so we have to make sure, I don't want you all spread out so thin that you're trying this and you try, but you understand your behavior, what is working for you? Where are you having connections?
Mm-hmm.
And Nikisha, where's Nikisha go? Nikisha's relatively new with us, but Nikisha.
I'm here.
Yes, what did you do?
I'm
this
here.
weekend?
I happen to just have friends who have been looking, and they were looking in New York, and then they happened to say, listen, we saw this place in New Jersey. They live in New Jersey, but wasn't really looking that much in New Jersey for a new home. But they knew I finished I call them fremilies because they're basically like family,
Cute.
like friends of ours.
Cute.
And so they knew I finished my real estate license, and they're like, well, why don't you help us? We found this house in New Jersey. And everything was so fast, which was really exciting. It was on GSMLS, which I didn't have, but figured out, how to find some stuff. And that was very interesting. It was an area I really didn't know. So I had to do a little bit of reading and research there, but it was a great experience. I ended up putting an offer in. The offer did not get accepted, so that was the update from this morning. But they're still so excited to keep looking, and I'm excited to keep looking for them. And it was great to actually do that offer with Sally's video, which was like, all right, I'm really going to do the step-by-step. And it was so easy to have the directional step-by-step, like, okay, let's pause and do what she said. And it was really just great to get in there and do it.
Make sure you make a copy, print out a copy so you could use that as a reference for your next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saved the copy. I downloaded it and have it saved. So that was
Print it
awesome.
out, yeah.
Yeah,
And
great
just
suggestion.
a little advertisement, Career Builders, which is this evening, starting at 6 o'clock, goes for an hour, is going to be our broker and Carolee Cherico, the two of them work together on putting a contract together, putting an offer, and they can't help but discuss strategies as they're, so if you get a
I love it.
chance, if
Thank
you
you.
need the Zoom link, Mary Beth, I'm going to send you the Zoom link.
It's also in their calendar.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
but definitely, and you could post it on the Facebook group just to remind them and what the topic is going to be. That would be awesome. We'll put that out there. So even if you need a refresher, if you only wrote one contract, maybe you want to go in tonight to 6 to 7. To Patty's point is you have two different people, two different styles, strategies, tactics, and we'll have that recorded as well. So that video will be up in the lobby as well as the Bergen County channel. All right, but Nikisha, I really wanted to give you a shout out because she went and she watched that video and then she put it together and then she sent me the contract and it was all good. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Like you already know you're a superstar and you're such tremendous help. Like I can't even thank you enough.
You're welcome. No problem. All of our coaches are really at your service, honestly. So one more. I feel like I had a hand up. Who had the hand up they wanted to share?
That was
Alvar.
mine. I just wanted to add one more thing. When I had first started my social media, this random loan officer from Arizona added me. So I added her back and we kind of built this relationship on Instagram, and she actually sent me a referral. We've never met in person. She's from Arizona. She's like, oh, I know someone who's looking for a home in Clifton. So she sent me a referral.
And that's awesome. I love that. Okay, so vendors, so affiliates, making sure that we're getting out there to let other affiliates. And I love that it was from a different state because honestly, somebody from a different state who connected with you, it must have been something on your Instagram that she felt like, oh, we're kind of like each other, or that'd be an agent that I'd work with if she was in my market. And that's all we're doing. We're just connecting. And so who you are, just show up as yourself. Show up as yourself. Also, Kate, would you unmute yourself for a second? Because I want to give Kate a shout out. Kate just got into the business and her neighbor is considering selling. But she's been very persistent in conversations, but yet, delicate with the conversation. And Kate, can you just share, where are you at with that? Because I love understanding where business comes from.
Yeah, so I call him. He's my builder and also builder of my house and also neighbor right next door. I call him if he's interested in selling his house because they've been empty nester since 2009 basically. So he said yes, he is, but he wants to be on public to list his house. So so Mary Beth coached me how to do, how to proceed with that, like exclusive agency listing, in-house listing. So we were talking about it and he a little bit backed out. And then I heard one morning he called me that he suddenly wants to list his house because he heard that the market is crazy. This is the time. So he wants to do it with me. And then, so I was preparing for the contract and listing agreement and everything. And then he texted me that, you know what, because of logistics, because they're coming back and forth, Israel and here because of family situation until August. The problem is it's not listing their house with me because they know that I'm gonna take care of everything here. So they're not worried about it. But the thing is, they have to find a house to move, but they want to sort of stay in this neighborhood, which is Cresskill, and the house, because his builder, he wants to basically do gut renovation. So the price range he's looking for is like 400K, which is so difficult to find because all other like builders around here are eager to find that type of property. So he said, you know, find the house and then bring it to me. Then let's list the house with you. So that's kind of where we are on. So
I just wanted you to tell that because, you know, this is the neighbor, the builder. We don't realize that. I just give her a lot of credit for just boldly offering her services to her own builder who, you know, will be listing with her at 1.4 million. And so she knows the product. She lives in the product that he's built. So why not give it to an agent that would know why you would want to purchase that house, right? But then she's left with the other challenge, which I know a lot of you are challenged with. Kira and I were just talking about that, where she's got a client that's going to list their house and they need to buy something, but what kind of advice would I give that person, right? And this would be the same I would give to Kate as well. Now, this guy has to go back and forth to Israel. So sometimes we need to meet people where they are. Isaiah, I see you. I'm going to get you. So, we need to meet people where they are. If he's got to go back to Israel, he's got to go back to Israel. The chances are he might find something this week or next week, and he could put an offer and he could get under contract and he can go to Israel. But if he doesn't find something, he's going to go to Israel. And she's going to have to be okay with that while she's working on other business, looking for other business. This will be a buy and a sell for her this year. But we get so like, oh, it has to happen now or it's not going to happen. And that's not going to be the case. We have to be able to work with people's timetables. Now, I said this to Kira as a suggestion, and this is for all of you. If you have somebody who has to sell their home and they're going to buy, and this is, Kira's talking about Massachusetts to New Jersey. It's just as a crazy market there as it is here. So it's the same kind of market. Maybe we do a lease back. Maybe in this crazy market as a seller, what does the seller have as an opportunity? Can I stay in my house for 2 months for no fee? I mean, if I have 10 offers, are 2 of them willing to give me that to let me stay here for 60 days so that I could close, have cash in hand, and now I can really go put an offer on something without a contingency with my deposit money in hand? Now, in other markets, that would not work. In other markets, a buyer would be like, are you kidding? Get the heck out of my house. I bought the house. We closed on it. You're out. But in special circumstances, one, I was the buyer. I let the lady stay in for 2 months because it was a short sale and I wanted the property. I wrote it in the contract. The attorneys were like, you're nuts. You're going to let her stay here for 2 months. I said, I don't care. The property is such a good deal. I'm even willing to pay the mortgage on it while she's living in it for 2 months. Now, maybe the 3rd month she's willing to pay my mortgage, but she's got now 90 days to stay in the house after she closes with the buyer, and now she can really go buy.
And to that point, Mary Beth, circling back, we are seeing more homes come on the market, and I am seeing a little tick up in days on the market. I'm seeing signs out there just a little bit longer before they get an under contract rider on them. So that could be a marketing ploy, but I don't think so. I think the market's changing slightly.
I agree. I've seen that in some markets. In some markets, it's not budging, but we see it in one market. We know it's going to trickle eventually.
That's right. It's going to come to the others.
Well, I mean, I think buyers are probably just getting tired of being bullied out there. You know, they're showing up at an open house and there's like all these people and they feel defeated. And, you know, so Isaiah, what did you want to share?
So earlier you spoke about as new agents finding whatever lead gen activity is best for us. And for the last like 7 or 8 months, I've been chasing old expireds and FSBOs so much. And about a week ago, I was like, all right, I'm burnt out. So I started a TikTok for our family. And our first video is at 130,000 views right now. And it keeps going up by the second.
What?
It's honestly like ridiculous that like how quickly you could find something that you're good at when you've been chasing something else for a few months. So I would advise everyone trying social media as much as you can, because I'm telling you, it works. So
you said for your family. So are you making this like, is this like I mean, you're like a show anyway. If anybody has not watched Isaiah Gibbs on Instagram, it's quite comical.
So yeah, it's for our family, but I also post real estate content on there as well. But the family stuff is what really gets a lot of views.
Wow. Okay. So where do we go to look for you?
I'll send my @name in the chat right now.
Okay.
On both Instagram and TikTok.
Now, I just want to, because we have all different ages being represented here and cultures, and, TikTok for me is not something that I have gotten into. I don't even think I opened up the thing. So once again, finding as new agents, finding your lane of where you can attract your market to buy with you or sell with you. So I just want to put it out there that TikTok is, even Instagram may not be for everybody. And yet it may be. Mm-hmm. I also don't want you to think, well, because of my age, I shouldn't be on TikTok or I shouldn't be on Instagram. No, don't do that to yourself either. If you want to go get yourself on TikTok and that's where you're going to be and you're 120, who cares? Go for it.
Yeah, don't be afraid to try something new. Get your feet wet, see what it feels like. That's called growth.
That's right. That's right. All right. So as far as a topic to talk about today, my question is, oh my gosh, you found your grandma? I gotta get there. I gotta watch it. Kira just wrote, Isaiah, I was so relieved when you found your grandma. So just imagine that this is something that you want to follow, and then Isaiah will be dropping his real estate nuggets, and then you're like, oh, the guy with the grandma? Yeah, that's my realtor. Okay. I was talking with Kira, and she had asked, Kira, do you want to put out there what you really would like us to cover and see if that's something that the whole group would benefit from?
Yeah, so when people start asking me about wanting to put an offer on a house and what they should do, I like choke because there's so many moving parts right now in making a good offer. So I would like to hear kind of like how to do that conversation well.
Okay. So
can I ask how many have put in an offer? Can I see a show of hands, either real or virtual? Okay, so you've got a good audience to hopefully answer some of your questions, see what they did.
Yeah. And those of you who did not raise your hand, are we working on a client? How many of you that did not raise your hand have somebody that this could happen any minute that they want to put an offer? Right? Okay, so there's even more people that really kind of need this information.
Okay, so help Kira.
Now, let's start with this. When you're in the buyer, if you have not, and this is where I think we get into trouble sometimes, we don't have the time to do a buyer consultation, a full buyer consultation. The buyer you meet at the open house now on Tuesday wants to put an offer, wants to see 5 houses and wants to go. And you're just like, how do I now go, hey, wait, hold on, let's have a full buyer consultation. Now, what I will say to you is you could easily say, hey, do you have like 45 minutes to grab on a Zoom real quick? Maybe 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night when the kids go down, or is there a convenient time that I could just show you the process of buying? Because you will be doing yourself and that client a disservice if you don't at least touch on a buyer consultation. Yeah. Setting the expectation of what the contract needs to, the process of contract, the process of attorney review, the process of, okay, mortgage commitment to closing. And you also will do yourself a disservice, more importantly, in if they don't understand the market, and if they don't understand, they might have to put 10 offers on properties until they get one, and maybe 10 offers doesn't even work. Then you're going to be just like a hamster on a wheel, nonstop with this client if you don't really set expectations. So number one, hands down, is you should all be looking to do a full buyer consultation with your buyers. And if you can't do that because you've met them and now they want to put an offer, you're going to still have to get them that information. And I would say when you're writing up the offer with them would be when you're gathering that information from them and when you're sharing that information from them, because you've gotten their attention. They want to sign the contract. Now, the first thing legally that you all must have a client sign is what?
CIS,
CIS. What does CIS stand for?
Consumer Information Statement.
Correct. What does it mean in a nutshell? What does it mean?
It's really just to give them the relationships that you guys are kind of signing off on. I'm your buyer agent or I'm your listing agent. Like, what's the relationship between you guys?
Yep. 4 ways we can work together: buyer's agent, seller's agent, dual disclosed agent, or transaction broker. And we'll be very clear here. Dual disclosed agent means when Alvart sells Kira's listing, they're dual disclosed agents because they're out of the same office. When Isaiah sells Kate's $1.4 million listing, that's a dual disclosure because they're out of the same office. But when Leslie Block sells Kira's listing, that is not a dual disclosure because Leslie is under Woodcliff Lake and Kira's under Ridgewood. So it's the broker that designates whether it's dual disclosure or not. Transaction broker, Patty, are we working with transaction brokers really so much?
I think we'll cooperate with them, but it's not something we embrace. If somebody wants to work with someone who's not a fiduciary, and transaction brokers are not fiduciaries, they're literally there to put the deal together. We'll cooperate with them, but
great.
As most companies will cooperate with them, but will not act as a transaction broker.
Great. So, the first thing we're doing is we're establishing agency. Here's the CIS, and we need to establish how we're going to work together. There's no agreement that they're paying you anything. It's just, hey, here's how we work together. And that must be given to them on the first point of contact. So I always would, as a listing agent at my open houses, I always had the flyer on one side, the CIS on the other side of the paper. It was a double-sided flyer CIS. I'm going to hand it to you. I gave it to you. Just a little tip. Kara and I were talking just right before this. Open House Pro is an app that will help you. So totally side note, but will help you obtain the correct email and name of your clients walking through the doors. Open House Pro. Why I said that, I don't know. All right. So, because I would normally after the open house, I would follow up with that flyer in an email version because I want them to get the CIS. Okay, Leslie.
So if you do an open house, you meet people, you do the follow-up, basically, your first contact with them is at the open house. Then you follow up with them the next day. When you speak to them, you just say, hey, it was great meeting you, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to send you X and Y. And that's when you're sending the CIS to them? Or are you waiting until you have your first?
Could I speak to it? Yeah. It needs to at least be referenced by law. When you're at the open house, say, we're going to meet tomorrow. At that point, we're going to, by law, I have to, you just tell them it's the law. I have to go through the different ways we can work together. And by the way, this shouldn't take more than 15 seconds. I can either work for you, I can work for the seller, I can work for both of you, or I'll work for neither of you. That's the CIS. Okay. So
I would get into
but yes, Leslie, you're right. It needs to be referenced. To Mary Beth's point, they should be given a copy. But you have to explain it by law.
And I would get into a habit of making that part of your conversation when you're meeting with people at the open house. You know, on the back is just the CIS, and this just means there's the 4 ways we could work together: buyers, sellers, da, da, da.
Yeah.
Now, when they go to put an offer, you need to get it signed. So if you're doing the full buyer consultation, I don't think, Leslie, to your question, I don't think that on Monday I would send them an email to say, hey, here's the CIS. I would look to get an appointment with them.
Yeah.
And I would look to then explain, what does the CIS look like? What does a buyer's contract look like? That is a great value when you're meeting with buyers, that especially at open house. Like, you know, would it be of value if we got together tomorrow night, half hour, let's say, and I could show you what a full real estate contract will look like once you find the house of your dreams? You make an offer, you'll need to fill one of these out.
And
What do
I
you do
don't
if they
want
say
you to
no?
be nervous with the paperwork when we find the house you want.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Leslie, what'd you say?
I just, and when you say that, would it be a value to XYZ, and they say, no, these things, and we'll go from there.
I would just say, okay, you know, we have to go through that at some point. I'm going to take it, you know, that maybe this isn't a top priority, or, you know, maybe you're not in a rush to get into a property, you know, but as soon as we start to seriously look for a home, like, we need to go over that kind of information. I'm not going to put myself in a situation, and I'm doing this right now. You know, I have a pastor who wants to go look at stuff, but I know I need the pre-approval. I need to know that. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to go have my name, you know, that she couldn't find something, or she didn't show us, or I need to make sure that we are pre-approved for the right amount. We know what the monthly payment's going to be. So there is a value to actually doing a full consultation. So everybody's on the same page. This is a huge asset. Before we go running off and looking at properties, I'd love to just grab 30 minutes with you. Now, if they can't do that and they're like, you know what, I'm really busy, Leslie. Here would be the suggestion. Could we just carve out then 30 minutes at the first house? At the first house, I'd like to just go over a few things with you. And I would bring out a printed form, and I would go through some of the things right there at the house, in the driveway, in the house, if I had to, because I'm not going to move forward with a buyer and let them tell me how we're going to work. You guys will be running around in circles. So the full buyer consultation is necessary. And if you can't get it done in a setting, you're just kind of dripping that information. So now on the follow-up on Monday, I call you and I ask, you know, how did you like the house? And you want to put an offer in. So let's just go from there, and we can talk about like some of the other strategies in between. But let's just say, and Alvar, do you have a question where we're at?
It's similar to what we're talking about, kind of like when to slip it in, and I don't know.
So get into a habit of putting it into your conversation when you meet people. Okay. If you're at an open house, have a stack of them. If you have them in email, have them in email. Say, you know what, can I just send you, I have a CIS, which is a consumer information statement. Love to just show you the 4 ways that we could work together. Oh, no, I'm not interested in working with you yet. I'm not sure. No commitment. I am legally obliged to just show you that this is the way a realtor could work with you. You haven't seen this before. You've gone to open houses, you know, and this is where I would actually say, like, I'm concerned that you haven't seen it before. You've gone out and looked at houses with an agent and they haven't shown you this.
It's just a disclosure. You're not asking, like you said, you're not asking for a signature. It's just disclosure, FYI.
And I want you all to know that that's your legal responsibility to disclose that from the first meeting. Okay. So now when they say, okay, we're ready to write up an offer. Let's just throw some things out there. What do you think? What do you do? What are some things that you have to do? I'm ready to write up an offer. I like this house. I want to buy it. What are you doing as the buyer's agent? What are some things you are doing?
Well, you need to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Daniel?
Just understanding their financial picture.
Okay, so understanding their financial picture. How do you ask me?
Are you pre-qualified? Have you looked into that? Do you know about mortgages? Do you know what a conventional loan is? There are other options besides that. If you can't qualify for loans, there are other options such with, you know, seller options, just as you described earlier, with lease options. We have solutions for you if you like, but what does your financial picture look like? Are you currently Do you own a home right now? If so, how much equity do you have in that home? And when do you need to get out of your home? So far, that's what I would
One
ask.
more question. Do you need to sell that home in order to purchase this home?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so you add that to the bottom, right? Those are great questions. And I love how you put that, Daniel. What's your financial picture? Because we're not going to assume that it's a bad one or a good one. I just want to know, what does it look like?
Yeah, and also like it's not necessarily a dead end. Just want to see where we're at.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that is definitely one thing that needs to be talked about with the client, preferably before they're going to be at the stage of wanting to write up an offer, because you wouldn't be showing them properties until you know that they can afford those properties. But let's just say they, I mean, this is what's happening. They're coming to you going like, I want to put this offer on it. Like I just did. And I had to slow them down for a second. And I had the exact conversation like Daniel had. And we talked about down payment money. We talked about credit is going to be a factor in this, and that I am not a professional on that. You are going to need to talk to my partner, my financial partner. Who's my financial partner? Whoever is your trusted lender. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. You got to give out 3 names, but you should know those 3 people that you would like to do the deal with. So if you don't have a lender, I think, Patty, that's where we can invite some lenders onto here to get to know them, maybe even a 5-minute, because they're all different. Yeah. So, okay. So that's the financial picture. Roddy, what were you going to say?
Well, typically what I do is I have a conversation with the selling agent to find out what's important to the seller. Are they looking to, sell first and then buy? In one case, I put in an offer today. The seller's moving like in 2 days, so she wants a quick closing.
Okay, so the seller's agent, what you're gonna call me, and let's just call me. I'm the listing agent. Your client, so it's a 650 property, and call me.
Hi, Mary Beth. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Roddy?
Good. So my client is very interested in the property, wants to put in an offer. Can you
We have
share
a
with
lot
me
of
what's
interest,
important?
Roddy. A lot of interest.
I
Highest and
understand.
best by Thursday.
Gotcha. So what's important to your seller?
Well, they're gone already. I mean, they're gone by tomorrow. So they want to get out as quick as possible. They wanna
Okay,
sell it.
so quick closing.
Yeah.
And are you at and above asking? Can you share that with me?
You know, I can't tell you that.
I thought
Listen,
I'd give it a try.
I will tell
Good
you.
try, Roddy.
Yeah, good try. You know, I can't tell you that. If you're our agents, you cannot tell them that. Okay.
Yeah. You
I've
guys
had
know
agents
better.
tell me.
What?
I've had
Oh, yeah.
agents tell me.
Of course you will.
Oh, good. Ask me one more time, because I'm gonna tell you. You know, I can't tell you that.
So
And then come back again though, and just say, well, are you at least over asking?
are they at least over asking?
Yeah, we're over asking.
Okay.
Also ask for like cash offers. Have you had any cash offers? Or also ask about how can I win? How can I win this deal? What's important for your client?
Reseller, your client. Absolutely.
Okay. So what's a win for my seller? Oh, what's win for my seller? You know what? The best price. That's what it's going to be for this guy. The best price and the fastest contract. I don't care about cash. Everything's cash at the table. I don't care. I just want to get out of here.
And the one I lost, that's what it was. He said, whoever comes in with the highest number.
Okay.
And then
Okay, so
afterwards, she called me and I asked, how did we lose? She said, your number was just slightly below.
Okay. So, and what does it matter if it's 50,000 down versus 80,000 down? Some people just really don't care. When they look at the mortgage company and they go, I know that company, it's reputable. This looks like, I mean, let me call the guy up and see if this loan, I don't care. I want the bigger number. Most sellers are going to go with that bigger number and take the risk on the down payment and just assume the mortgage lender is going to do their job. So he just got out of me that I have over asking and that my sellers want a quick closing. That's what he just got from me. Right? So those 2 terms, can your buyer do that? If your buyer can do that, you're going to give me a 30-day closing in writing, and you're going to go as high as you possibly can. And to Parul's question is, hey, what's a win for your seller? When the guy goes, the highest price. Okay. Then I know I'm dealing with a high D. It doesn't matter. Nothing about the fluff. Who cares? Get them as high as they can go. Okay. So now,
I'll also say that keep in loop with the lender when they say they want to do a quick, like, they want to close quickly. Definitely call the lender and find out. Some of the lenders are too laid back. You need to get them moving. You need to let them know that, my client needs to get this done in like 2 to 3 weeks. How can we do this? And then if the lender is like, okay, I need just these things, then you communicate with your buyers, get them rolling. So get the ball rolling.
Great point. That's exactly what I did with this offer today. I checked with the lender, got a closing date recommendation, but he said, if you need to do it in 30 days, call me, we'll push.
But you're involving the lender, and I love that. Good, Parul and Roddy. That's excellent, because that is your mortgage partner. There has to be communication. And I think, Mary Beth, I also heard you as the listing agent said you were going to reach out to the mortgage company for the buyer, not your client.
I want to know that that's a reputable loan officer, and that this loan officer really knows this client.
Yeah.
I mean, there are plenty of people that have an old, I'm just saying it, I've been in the business long enough. They have an old pre-approval and they slap on, with all the technology that we have today, a new date. And now you're running around with a client that's not really truly pre-approved. Or they have an old date and you go, it's fine. It's an old one, but they got pre-approved.
And the rates are low, yeah.
They're lower than they were in March, right? So it's got to be good. But how about his job changed and unemployment? All these things have happened. So do not just, you have to reach out to the lender for your client. You are a team. I also wrote down here the attorney. The attorney has to be on board. Here's the other thing that happens. You go into contract today. Today's Tuesday. Somebody's going into contract today. LaQuandra. Go into contract today. She's trying to get out of attorney review like today or tomorrow. Why? Because she doesn't want to put her buyer through a whole nother weekend of the house being technically available. Because while it's an attorney review, another offer can come in and knock you out for no good reason. Once you're out of attorney review, you are under contract and your buyer is safe as long as that buyer performs.
Now, speaking of the attorney, there are some agents in a market like this that is so fast moving. If you have a good relationship with that attorney, call the attorney and say, do me a favor, do our clients a favor, you write up the contract. An attorney contract doesn't need a review period.
Now, if your client is shopping with you and they don't even have an attorney identified, or they're not sure what lender they're going with, I mean, you cannot be shopping with somebody who does not have an attorney identified. Granted, they could go find one that afternoon, but the truth is you need to know how this guy's working and if they're going to be fast, and are they going to, take a phone call from you, and are they going to, oh, there she is. She's so cute. So you need to have a working relationship with the attorney, with the lender. And now moving forward is, Roddy, this one is for your daughter, right? This property?
Yep. Yeah, I've already consulted with the attorney. She's got a inspector lined up who's on standby.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to say. This daddy's going to take care of this contract, right? He's going to make sure everything is done. This is such a good practice for you, because this is how every single client should be taken care of.
Yeah, like family. Sure.
Like family. You place that call and you say, hi, I want to introduce myself. We represent the same client, Mrs. Yee, and I'm Mary Beth, and just want to make sure we have a working relationship. Here's my email if you need to reach me. I think we understand that they want to move quickly, and that's the goal here, and we want to get out of review as quick as possible. Who's waving a hand? Somebody was waving a hand. Parul.
Get everything in writing. Even
like what?
Like anything in conversation you're having, email or text, have in writing, because sometimes they're like, oh, really? When did I say that? And also I would like to put, when you're under contract and things are rolling quickly, get the attorney, get the lender, get the title company all rolled in that email. Yes. So that they all know what's going on at this point, so that they know that they have to work, their thing is coming next, so they already know that.
So what Parul just said is so key. Number one is anytime you have a discussion, especially with the other agent or even your client, follow it up with, just to reiterate, we spoke about da 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 da. So you put it in writing so they can go, no, I didn't say that. Because in the moment of like, yeah, whatever, just put it, yeah, 50,000, sure. And then they're like, no, we only have 35 to put down. We're not putting 50 down. And now it's a mess of a contract. So that's one. And the other thing is, Parul said, yes, when you do get the accepted contract and it's all executed and you're going to go ahead and send that contract out, my suggestion 100% is the lender, the attorney, the title, and the insurance are all, and the client are all on that email. Congratulations, we've got an accepted contract. We're moving forward. And you're putting out the dates. We have, our attorney, our deposit is to be due by this day, our inspection, our appraisal, our commitment. That is becoming a real professional as you're laying out the timeline now for you that's in the contract. So now let's just say we've called the agent. We've talked to them about their financial picture. We've got the pre-approval. We've talked to the lender, right? So we know what they can really afford. We have now talked to the agent. We've asked the agent what kind of information we can get from them so we can cater the contract to that seller. We maybe have even called out to the title company, which is Brian or Carnegie Title. No, I say Brian because I know Brian forever, but Carnegie Title. And we maybe have reached out also to Tim Fox from Carnegie Insurance. So now you got all the people lined up that can close the transaction. Now you're going to go to the MLS. You're also going to be looking for the lead-based paint disclosure and the seller's disclosure from the listing agent. You are not signing blank ones. You are signing the disclosed ones. You are also not signing the seller's disclosure as the agent. You are not going to put your liability into that document. Basically, if you read the last page in the seller's disclosure, it says that you're verifying all that information in that disclosure. And you have no idea if there were water problems or if there was a leak over here that they fixed. You have no idea. So do not sign the seller's disclosure, but you must sign the lead-based paint disclosure. Rashid, the seller's disclosure should be attached to the listing, uploaded in MLS.
Into the documents.
It says D, right, Patty?
Yep.
D.
D for in NJMLS, yes.
Where is it on the Garden State MLS? Where is
Okay.
it on the Garden State MLS?
I believe it's also a D, if anybody else remembers in Garden State MLS, but I'll find out.
Media.
Under media?
Yeah, well, like where you would find the pictures.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Okay, under
That
media,
rings a bell.
Ronnie.
Under media, okay.
And
I
then
couldn't
Rashid,
find it.
what's your question? Rashid?
What if you don't find the seller's disclosure on NJMLS?
Correct, then you would ask the listing agent for the seller's disclosure.
Okay, thank you.
And it's probably easier if they just upload it to the MLS.
A lot don't, and it's a shame because it creates an extra step for the buyer's agent.
Yeah, because last time I couldn't find it and I had to ask them.
Yep. Yep.
And remember, you're dealing with agents on the other side. So do you guys pick up your phone all the time? I wish you did, but you don't. So just text the agent. Hi, I'm trying to reach you. I need to get the seller's disclosure for 123 Main Street. Okay. All right. So now what else? What else do we think we need? Because I don't think we need much more.
Kira, is this answering your questions?
Can we talk about contingencies and how to talk to our buyers about what they may or may not want to do?
Do you have a contingency in mind?
Like people, inspections, appraisals, those things are.
You mean like what you're hearing in today's market?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the market, right? It has happened before, but this is, I think, the most extreme of it.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been in the business since '86 and I've not seen it this extreme. I've seen it pretty bad, but not this extreme. Just a caveat, we are hearing that people are waiving physical inspections. And just make sure that is a strikeout if you're going to do it. But let me give you some caveats. You never want a buyer to buy a house where they don't know what they're buying. And certainly, I think Ron Lugashi said environmental, structural. Come on, guys, help.
Safety.
Mechanical.
Mechanical.
Yeah. And if you are instructing your buyer, please, we're told, do not put it in writing, text, email. Okay. And be careful advising them to do that. I think the risk is obvious, but you could tell them that what you are seeing, thank you, Mary Beth, it's in the chat. What you are seeing, you're not necessarily, you're seeing this in the market, and some of the competing offers may come through with, a lack of a physical inspection, except for major things. But you cannot advise them to go in that direction. Mary Beth, do you agree?
100%. And don't, you put it into the contract and you write it into the contract, and now the mortgage company sees that contract. Okay. If a mortgage company sees a contract that says that you're waiving it as is, that you're going to waive the inspections, that you're taking it, you might have a problem with the mortgage company. So I would consult with the mortgage company on what they are willing to see inside those contractual provisions. Because
no, I'm sorry. Sometimes you can put, inspection for informational purposes. At least they're getting an inspection. They're going in with their eyes open.
That's right. So as far as contingencies, let's understand this. Inside of your original New Jersey state contract, it technically is an as-is sale. Okay, it's technically an as-is sale, and the buyer has a right to some inspections and some contingencies. The first contingency is they have a deposit contingency. They have to put their deposit out. The initial deposit was replaced by zero. I mean, we used to write $1,000 check. Then it was like, where's the $1,000 check? So initial deposit, most people do not fill out that. That's like good faith. Most people just bring a hefty additional deposit, which is due 10 days after the attorney review period ends. So if we get in and out of review right now, it's probably within 2 weeks of you signing the contract, you will need this liquid deposit. It needs to go and sit in a trust account until we close. Okay, so the question, the financial picture is, how much liquid do we truly have that we are willing to put up front right now in the next 2 weeks to hold against your contract, right? And then the rest of the money we could bring at the table. But the first one is they got to get their second deposit in. That is a contingency. If they do not meet that, they can be in breach of contract. The second one is that they have to have a home inspection, or they don't have to have a home inspection. They have the right to a home inspection, and they need to have it done within a certain time frame, which in your contracts, it's 10 days, 14 days, depending on what you write in the blanks, or if you leave it blank. And so they have to have the inspection, and their inspection has to be done. And then they have to do their little wish list, which in today's market, nobody's creating a wish list, because it's like, you could have the inspection, but it's really for just the good of an inspection, so that you know what you're buying. To Patty's point is, I don't want you to not have your inspection, but you might not have any leverage to negotiate on any of those items that the inspector finds. So that's when somebody says, oh, are you going to waive your inspection? I don't advise you ever to waive the inspection. Let your client have the inspection. But when you put things in like that, like the environmental, structural, and mechanical, that those are the only things that you will still have the right to negotiate, then at least the homeowner knows that cosmetically, you're not going to be saying, oh, this door is crooked, or this hinge is off, and I want this hole fixed. None of that's going to get done. So that is very normal for people to waive that portion of the inspection, but I don't really think it's even necessary. And when you're talking to the agents, it might be, but so that's the contingency. The next one is that they have to get a mortgage commitment. So this is the big one that you guys are hearing. Oh, they're going to waive the appraisal. It might sound really cool to do, and you might think that you're going to get the offer if you waive the appraisal, but can your client financially, Daniel, can they financially waive the appraisal? And how would you know? You would need to know how much money they have that's also liquid that they didn't put out in the deposit. And you would also need to know if they put out extra money for a deposit, are they going to have enough money in the bank to close? Because they also need closing costs, and the bank needs to see that they have X amount of reserves so that they can pay the mortgage for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
So do not just be that agent that goes, yep, they're waiving the appraisal. Here's what it means. I'm buying a house and it's 500,000 is the sale price. We go to the appraisal contingency because now the bank sends out an appraiser because I got to get a mortgage commitment. The contingency is the mortgage commitment. If I can't get a mortgage commitment by this day, which is in your contract, I'm also in breach of contract. And being in breach of contract means 2 things. One is they could kill the contract on you, or there are times where they could sue you for liquidated damages. So you never want to put your client into a position where they may be in breach of contract just because you didn't talk through some things. Now, when they get to the attorney's going to look at that contract and they're going to tear it apart. So if you put a contingency in there, or you put a waive of appraisal, and they talk to their client and they realize you can't do that, now you got a totally different contract and the deal's probably dead. So you do have some, like, you know, there's a little buffer there that the attorney will probably catch it. But the reality is the conversation between you and the client is, here's what this means. We buy a house for 500,000. The appraisal gets done, the bank comes out and they appraise it, and they appraise it at 480. Are we moving forward? The bank said it's only worth 480. I'm buying it for 500. Well, here's the first thing we can do. If I'm waiving the appraisal, like waiving the whole appraisal, I still have to have the appraisal because I'm getting a mortgage. The bank needs the appraisal to be done. But if there's a $20,000 gap from 480 to 500, do I have the $20,000 liquid to now also come out of pocket with on top of the down payment that I was putting out in order to fill the gap so that we can go to closing? I will tell you, most people don't really have that money. And I see agents writing it in there and they're not even sure, and it sounds all great, but here's what the problem is. When the appraisal comes back short and that buyer can't move forward, then everybody's in this contract that people are getting
Red-faced.
sued. Yeah, it's horrible.
Red-faced.
Yeah, red-faced. Good point. So how do you be sure that they can waive a portion of the appraisal? They really need to speak to their lender, because it may not be them coming out of pocket with more money. If they have a nice down payment, let's say they have 20% down, they may be able to slide 10% of that into down payment money and now have a 90-10 instead of an 80-20. But here's what also happens if they were to do that. Now they tack on PMI. PMI is private mortgage insurance. And now their monthly payment bumps up $200 a month, $300 a month. And now they can't afford it anymore. So you need to talk to the lender to see what they are capable of doing. How can they structure their offer, and can they waive a portion of the appraisal? Then you have the other side of it that we always had as a protection was, and you know, Patty, we've used this all the time, is, well, if it doesn't appraise, do you think the next guy's going to buy it if it doesn't appraise? Probably not. And in today's market, yeah, they will.
In this market, they will.
They will. But in like 95% of the markets, it would have been, listen, if it doesn't appraise, it's not going to appraise for the next guy either. So then you get to renegotiate the price. In today's market, that is not the case. So do I advise them to waive the appraisal? Only if they are financially responsible for the money that they can do it, that they could do it. And if they can't, they can't. Then it's not the house for them.
Can you also, sometimes I've heard that you can put that certain amount, that if it's still this much that you can appraise, and beyond that, then they have to negotiate with the seller.
That's what the actual contract says.
Right.
It's when we put these, we're going to waive the appraisal. But what Parul just said, that is what you're making your client sign, is that it's going to appraise, and it's going to appraise at the contract price. And if it doesn't appraise, then the buyer and seller can renegotiate or walk away if they can't come to an agreement. And in today's market, that seller is saying, nope, I don't want that kind of language in there. You're going to take it however you take it with the price that's on the contract. Figure it out. I want the buyer that could do that for me.
That's where we come in and we do the CMA for them, because that's where we are important, because we tell them that, you know what, we know that this is how much it's going to come to. Are you comfortable? You have to pay over $50,000 in the appraisal.
Yes, and thank you, Parul. So that's where the CMA for a buyer would come in. Why would you need to do a CMA? Because you want to show them that when the appraiser goes to pull the comps, it's going to show that it's going to appraise. Or we might have a challenge. We got to hope that these other ones close before we close. And that has happened to me in the situation where we had to wait for 2 other properties to close just to have the comps to come in to give me the appraised value that we needed on the property. So it took an extra month to close because we knew those properties would actually give us the value that we needed. Roddy, and we're going to close up. And I know we went over a little bit, but Roddy, go ahead.
Yeah, quick question. So when you submit the offer and it's out of dot loop, it's an email, do you copy the attorney or do you copy the buyer?
Okay, so perfect. Only when you get the executed. I wouldn't start copying everybody until you got both signatures, seller and buyer.
Got it.
Meeting
That's
of the
what I thought.
minds. And thank you, because I'm sure people needed to hear that. Once you get the meeting of the minds, that's when you're sending it off saying, hey, congratulations, we've got an accepted contract. Everybody do their parts. Now, here's 2 things I want to say. Number 1, and I said this to Nikisha, and great job with your cover letter. A cover letter is always a nice look with these multiple offers. A cover letter meaning you've got one sheet that you've put the attorney, the lender, the agent, the client, everybody is on this one sheet, and your terms are on that one sheet. Here's our offer, here's our down payment, and here's when we're closing. And it's a real quick snapshot for that listing agent to go, oh, you're the girl that sent the cover sheet. Thank you.
I put that in the body of the email. Is that okay?
And then I would also put it into the body of the email. It would be the attachment and it would be in the body of the email.
Okay.
So now
I didn't do an attachment.
One other thing, Roddy, to your point is, although we are in DocuSign and we are in dotloop, not everybody is. And so when you are submitting an offer, my suggestion is you are doing a download and sending an email with the attachment of your offer. I've seen, and I know some of you have done it, where you're sending over an offer, just sending it, sharing the loop out with the agent. Don't do that. Yeah, Roddy?
Yeah, so I had a conversation with the agent notifying her that my client was interested, and I asked, how do you want the offer submitted? Then, of course, I also included the approval letter as well as the signed seller's disclosure.
Correct. Yep.
And when you send it all over to the attorney, do make sure you have a copy of the MLS printout also. The attorney needs to know.
Why, Patty?
Well, if there's a septic or there could be additional inspections.
Yep.
Any municipal easements, they need to know.
Yep.
So one
Right.
quick thing, ladies. So attorney needs to be on deck. What if I need help suggesting attorneys to the clients? It's on the KW site, right?
So all of our offices
Like
have
vendors?
all of our offices have approved attorneys that we have as vendors. So
Yeah.
yep, we'll get you that link. Plus, we did do an attorney panel with 4 of our BCP approved attorneys, and that video is on the coaching lobby. It's
Okay,
Frank Uzi,
awesome.
Frank Chambrone, Felix, and Ian Linker. Also Jill Cadre, Cadre,
and she's bilingual, which is
she's
always
bilingual and she's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But one other thing about the MLS sheet I just want to make is if there are inclusions and exclusions and it's on the MLS sheet, it's important for you to attach that MLS sheet because it was there, the printout is there, the date that you printed it out was there. An agent gets real creative and goes and takes off the refrigerator and the washer and dryer, and you go to the closing table and it's missing out of the house, and you have no proof that that thing should have been there. Okay, so as per MLS attached. And the other reason, and I've had this happen, is the other, the attorney, the client, the agent, whatever, they decide to change your commission. 2.5. It wasn't 2, it was 2.5. Okay. And so somebody wanted to get real cute with me and change it to 2. So when I got to the closing table, I was like, oh no, it's in the contract. And I also have the MLS sheet printed out. And oh boy, did that agent feel dumb because she thought she was getting one over on me.
You're going to want to put that printout in dot loop as well.
Correct.
Oh, obviously. Yep.
Okay. So it's also a really cool thing to send to your client a year later. Hey, remember this time? Remember we were looking at this? I've had some clients go, do you have that MLS sheet? And now it's all saved, so you can always send it to them. But, all right.
What do you do with unaccepted offers? So the offer
Unaccepted
wasn't
offers,
accepted.
great. So you're supposed to keep all your unaccepted offers for how long?
Is it 60 days? Am I wrong? 6 years?
I feel like it's 7
6?
years or
6
something
months.
like that.
Is it
6
months?
months, 6 months.
6 months. I'm like, it's a 6.
But in today's market, that would be like, I mean, 6 months worth of offers is like, I don't even know if you could house that, but 6 months. What's beautiful is we have an electronic system now, right? Here's what I would advise you to stay organized. Keep yourself a Google Drive. You have .loop, you have DocuSign, whatever you have, but keep yourself a Google Drive or have your desktop organized where each client of yours has a folder. And, you know, each client's folder has a property address. So anything they write up is in that property address folder inside your client's folder. You know, and as you keep continuing to grow your business, call this year's 2021's folder. Now, next year's clients, put them in 2022's folder. But keep your stuff in an extra place outside of your .loop, your DocuSign, you know, somewhere it's easily accessible for you as well.
But for .loop, nothing needs to happen there? Like you don't have to press a button that it wasn't
No, it's there. It's there.
approved
It's
or anything,
archived.
It's just there.
No,
Okay.
it's just there. It's there forever. Ronnie?
Thank you.
Sorry, one last question. So with all the offers, if you're working with one client and you get multiple offers in, you know, they're rejected, do you keep them all in the same dot loop file or do you create different dot loops?
Anybody have a suggestion? Because that would be just the systems, I think.
Yeah.
Different.
I would probably call them all different addresses. That's just
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
The
that's what I
address
do.
would be what I'd be searching, not the client.
Right.
When I go onto my desktop or my Google Drive, I'd be searching the client to see all of their offers though.
Okay, that's what I do.
I
Thank
have
you.
it in dot loop, like one loop under the buyer name for now, and then folders in dot loop for each address that I submitted.
Unaccepted offers and
Yeah.
dump it in.
Oh, got it.
And you're gonna have to
Thank
create
you.
the same system in DocuSign, Kristen. So fun in the California sun.
A lot.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Guys, we gotta go. We are
Gotta
over
go.
time. OT.
And hope to see you tonight at 6 o'clock. I have put the link in coaching lobby, Facebook
Great
page.
stuff. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. Thank
Okay,
you.
awesome, guys.
Thank you.
Now go write a
Thank you.
contract writing time.